Hello, everybody, and welcome to a tropical update here. This is a wide view of the Atlantic. You can see there's two areas of interest to watch in the open Atlantic right now. I'll go over that in a little bit here. But first, I want to talk about what's now Tropical Depression Laura here out in over the United States here. As you can see, um, it's a tropical depression right now, of course. It made landfall just to the south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. I think around near about or maybe right over Cameron, Louisiana, as a 150 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane with a pressure of 938 millibars. And that wasn't its pressure peak. It peaked that the in terms of pressure peak, the storm peaked as a 937 millibar storm shortly before landfall. Not at landfall. At landfall is a 938 millibar, 150 mile per hour storm. So near high end Category 4 storm. The highest you could possibly get a Category 4 storm at is at 155 miles per hour. And once you hit 157 miles per hour plus, is when you reach Category 5 intensity and category there. But regardless of category, this storm right here, Laura, was a really significant storm and life-threatening and deadly storm. Unfortunately for many here along the United States and along other parts of the country here, including Cuba and island of Hispaniola, unfortunately. So a really life-threatening and dangerous storm, now weakening now over landing the United States here. Um, Time remains to be seen what the National Hurricane Center make this storm out in post-analysis. They'll of course do an in-depth look at this storm and see if maybe it was actually 150 mile per hour storm, or maybe if it's slightly higher than that or slightly lower than that intensity-wise. And that'll be probably next year, probably in the spring or maybe early summer months next year, when they get a chance to look at the data and see whether or not if it was still a 150 mile per hour 937 millibar storm, if it was again slightly higher or slightly lower in intensity. And so we gotta wait for that. In terms of these two areas of interest here, you can see disturbance number one, 20% chance of formation throughout the next 48 hours, 30% chance of formation throughout the next 5 days, and then the one behind that one, near 0% chance throughout the next 48 hours of development, and to the next 5 days, a low 30% chance of formation there. And you can see this is the last forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center of now Tropical Depression Laura. The Central Pacific, not the Central Pacific, the Storms Prediction Center, I believe is going to be issuing a little bit more updates on these storms until they deem it unnecessary to do so, I believe. And now that it's over land, and this is the last cone from the National Hurricane Center here that you can see. I'm not going to read all the information there, but you can see it's located at 35.0 degrees north, 92.0 degrees west. Max sustained winds 35 miles per hour, moving north northeast at 15. And you can see on this cone they have it strengthening into at least a tropical depression, not tropical depression, tropical storm strength, extratropical storm as it heads out back over into the Atlantic here on the east coast and races on off away from the United States. Thankfully, after that point, and by that point, it should be extratropical. And then quickly here, here's the key messages for tropical depression Laura here. You can stop the video right now and read that if you want to. And here's a Spanish version of that. The key messages right here too if you want to stop the video right now and read that as well. Going to the eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Isel currently going on in the open Pacific. Poses no real threat to land, maybe just a rip current and maybe slight rip current risk and maybe increased tide risk along the Baja California coastline. I'm guessing tides may increase by about a foot or two at max. It might be an increased rip current risk as well too. But other than that, should be relatively minor impacts, if any, to the Baja California coastline for Tropical Storm Isel. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm not going to read the information there, but you can stop the video right now and read it if you want to. But it's forecast to peak as a 60 mile per hour tropical storm before eventually gradually weakening and turning into a post-tropical or remnant storm by about 5 p.m. Sunday or Monday there, as you can see on the forecast cone. We also have Tropical Storm Hernan, which is a little bit closer to the coast here. A 40 mile per hour tropical storm located at 20.5 degrees north, 107.0 degrees west. They have it going really close to perhaps making a landfall there, because as you can see on the extreme northern part of that cone there, they have the extreme the extreme southwest part of the Baja California coastline, probably around the Cabo San Lucas area of the coastline there under the cone, as the storm weakens into a tropical depression strength storm. So it may be again increased current risk for them, or maybe increased tides by about a foot or two as the storm progresses over there. Just to south of there, as forecast, or maybe just a little bit closer to the Baja California coastline. Really depends here, but like I said, the forecast cone does include an extreme southern part of the coastline there, so time remains to be seen if it makes landfall there, if it stays off to the south. In terms of satellite imagery here, satellite imagery for Tropical Storm Hernan. This big burst of convection here is not over the center like you may think. It's as you can see, it races on off towards Mexico. Then the last few frames before it starts to dwindle down, but it looks a bit there. If this big burst of convection went right over the center, there we would be talking about a completely different story here. But fortunately, it's not over the center here. But I imagine there's probably some really heavy rainfall occurring in this particular cell there. So I hope the people under it are being safe from this. Then we have Tropical Storm Isel here again. Poses really no threat to land at all. As you can see here, there is a little island there, I must note, but if I'm not mistaken, that island is uninhabited. Um, that I know of. Of course, if it is inhabited, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll correct it in the description or in the comment section below. But as you can see here, Isel not really looking the best here, but forecast to reach a peak out as a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm before gradually weakening and dissipating later on in time here. And that's the wide view Atlantic, and here's the wide view Pacific here, and you can see tropical storm Hernan right there, and then tropical storm Isel right there as well. So other than that, that's pretty much about it in terms of the tropics wise right now. Kind of in another lull in terms of Atlantic activity from stuff. However, we do have those two areas of interest. I mean, in terms of United States impacts here, other than Tropical Depression Laura. Now we have a little bit of a lull in activity for now, at least till we get our next threats later on the season. I'm assuming. So be prepared for what the rest of the season has to offer here. I'm almost certain that Laura probably is not going to be the only threat this season has to offer here. Especially looking at long range models. Long range models are wanting something to form out of these two invests here. So of course I'll keep you guys updated on what comes of it. Other than Tropical Depression Laura going on, we're kind of going to be in a little bit of a lull here, temporary lull. I mean, in terms of activity for the United States. So while we're in this lull, please take the time to look over your hurricane plan and hurricane preparations kit, and make sure it's updated to most up-to-date information and up-to-date things you need to put into it. And hope everybody has a great day or night. Stay safe, of course. Until then, see you guys in the next video. Peace.